Good morning. Though I'm attending a conference and couldn't be here today, I wanted to share with you some information, some strong results really of our recently concluded Western Michigan Geography History Project for 6th and 7th grade. This project began with planning in the winter of 2012, and programming began that summer and concluded this past August 2013. The results were pretty strong and represented so much potential for other grade levels, where arguably the need is even greater, that I've continued to work with our partners to create a new opportunity. To carry that forward, we'll need to work together to meet some deadlines and leverage those results for our teachers and students and take advantage of a grant program that could be worth as much as $250,000. So a little bit about the program that just concluded. The Western Michigan Geography and History Project was a partnership between our county, Newaygo County, the Michigan Geographic Alliance at Central Michigan University, and the Department of Education, which awarded the Title II Part 3A grant. Those grants are for improving teacher quality and aren't available to us directly. They're only available to institutions of higher learning. MGA qualifies because of its affiliation with Central Michigan University. In the program, we had representation from 12 different school districts. Our focus was on the content of 6th and 7th grade social studies, world geography, and the early eras of world history. And we emphasized content, but also differentiated instruction was emphasized, based on the understanding that as difficult as this content may seem, it was accessible to all learners if taught well. To that end, we had participation from special education teachers and designed numerous hours of PD dedicated to working with students who are struggling learners and read below grade level. We were also able to add additional teachers as partners later in the program for joint planning purposes. Evaluation of the program included a number of factors, including teacher pre- and post-testing, student pre- and post-testing, classroom observations on material use, since the program included generous classroom material grants, and participant feedback. The entire report is available in the ITQ report and planning folder in our shared Google Drive. Here are a few highlights from that evaluation report. Pre- and post-test data was collected from over 1,300 students. The results of that pre- and post-test data was pretty significant. In 6th grade, we saw students have their scores more than double between pre-testing and post-testing. 7th grade students saw a similar increase. And as with most educational research, there certainly could be other factors influencing that increase. But considering the input we received from teachers, there's a strong indication that these increases were significantly greater because of this professional development in this program than they otherwise would have been. We gathered some interesting feedback from teachers too, and that indicated that what we did in the program helped to clarify for them the often difficult social studies content expectations for middle school, clarifying what to teach, how to teach it creatively, and how to meet the needs of more students. Getting their hands on some much-needed materials didn't hurt either. Again, the full report is available in our shared folder. This program and the successes that we saw in it, along with a number of other factors, has driven me to focus on another troublesome area of the content expectations, particularly 3rd and 4th grade. These grades have some significant and somewhat difficult content that is important for continued understanding and growth towards being ready for civic life, and that often shows up on state assessments. That content knowledge that often shows up on state assessments several years later can no longer be ignored. Michigan's accountability system includes social studies on an equal level as math and English language arts. Additionally, there is a growing understanding that in order to understand increasingly complex text, in order for students to understand that increasingly complex text, simply improving a student's knowledge and use of reading strategies is inadequate. I've included 2 links to articles about this in that ITQ folder on the shared drive. They are interesting reading and perhaps could be the topic of some future dialogue or learning on our part at another meeting. For now, the message of this research is that content knowledge is equally or even more significant for understanding increasingly complex text. Sprinkling in social studies or science informational text into instructional time that's devoted to reading or writing targets doesn't work by itself. That's so significant and being done by so many in trying to implement the Common Core, it's worth saying again. Sprinkling in social studies or science informational texts into instructional time devoted to reading or writing targets does not by itself work. The content instruction has to be intentional and content target focused. This is the only way that students seem to have a chance when faced with informational text on the edge of their understanding level. Not only is that something that's important for the growth of the child, it is something that's necessary for state assessments in social studies, which require reading in a content area. And by all indications from sample items from Smarter Balanced, this will be important for English language arts testing as well, which will be testing that's done with prompts that are content-based. So it's important on a number of levels. Finally, the partnership that we've developed with the Michigan Geographic Alliance and their really delight in working with our teachers in this area in the past couple of years has made them eager to work with this new program. A program here we're calling Social Studies and Literacy, though in the final grant proposal that we put together, we may adjust that title a little bit to include something about increasingly complex text, because we hope to measure students' growth and their ability to handle that, as well as their growth in content knowledge. Our partners with the Michigan Geographic Alliance thought that since we're looking at 3rd and 4th grade, it would be appropriate to see things in terms of 5s. After all, 3rd and 4th grade are about Michigan and United States regions, particularly the Great Lakes region. And so they wanted to give this a bit of a Great Lakes theme and put things in terms of 5 Great Lakes, you know. So here are 5 reasons for teachers to get involved with this project. 90 hours is our target for professional development. 90 hours is a good number, as you'll see in a moment. Teacher content knowledge is important too. Teachers can't teach what they don't know themselves, and the content is more complex than people think in 3rd and 4th grade. Student achievement will increase if we have results that are anywhere close to our last project. We'll emphasize how literacy can be integrated into social studies instruction, and additionally, flipping that around, how appropriate and target-focused informational text can be integrated into literacy instruction, and we'll provide many of the materials to do that. Teachers will get a great deal out of this program as well. All of the PD time that we're doing will be paid time. 90 hours of professional development, think about that for a moment. That's halfway towards certificate renewal for a teacher in one targeted focused program. They'll grow in their own knowledge and appreciation of Michigan and the United States and learn and develop strategies, lessons, and activities to teach it with the materials to support that instruction as well. My colleagues who will do much of this work at the Michigan Geographic Alliance are former and current elementary teachers, and they are certainly creative in the way that they like to present material. Well, to make that happen, we're going to need to do some things together to get a proposal ready for the mid-January deadline. We're going to need a few things. And immediately after the Thanksgiving break, I'll be sending a needs survey out to every 3rd and 4th grade teacher in the county. Getting those back in about a week is important We want to use that information to shape the details of the program. Even those who will not be able to participate in the end can help us identify the needs, so as many of those as I can get back, the better. If I'm able to send those out electronically, by the way, I will, but I'm bound by the constraints of the grant proposal. And in the past, MDE has said only paper responses are legitimate here. So I'll get those out in the best way that I can. We'll be looking to start the program with 40 third and fourth grade teachers or special education teachers with that content. The program is really designed to complete with 30 or more, and we know that life happens, including grade assignment changes. So we want to start with 40 so that we are sure to be above that 30 mark when we end. MOUs will need to be collected, and samples of all of those things are in the ITQ folder, but those are samples from a previous year and they might be adjusted a bit. So I'm asking that you not distribute those until I get an updated copy in there for you. Some additional information may, in fact, answer some of the questions you might have. In our previous program, we only did summer work and Saturday work. And we'll give participants some input on that. If, in fact, we do any work that's during school hours instead of a stipend, we will reimburse the school for substitutes. There are always extra sessions scheduled. So our target is 90 hours of PD, but we'll schedule several extra days so that teachers can be accommodated for their schedules and their areas of need. They'll be able to select some things that are more important to them and be able to select days, particularly if we're using Saturdays, that work better for their schedule. We have some of the first dates tentatively scheduled already, June 23 through 27, this coming summer for the first 5 days, a pretty intense stretch of professional development. There'll be lots of implementation and planning work time with colleagues and within districts and across districts, something that we recognize and have heard is a significant need that's getting squeezed now in difficult financial times. Teachers have really appreciated that in our previous project, that time to plan and implement. Finally, we plan to measure growth in both content knowledge and the understanding of complex text. We hope to use information from assessments that are already being given to measure that growth in the understanding of complex text. We'll use pre- and post-test data, particularly as it relates to the social studies targets, to measure the content growth. Well, additional information about this is available in that shared ITQ folder. And of course, I'm not available here in person today, but I'm delighted to answer any questions you have. You can send them to me via email, or if you think they're significant for others, you can take a moment and ask them now of our colleagues, or you can put them right there on our shared agenda, and I'll attempt to address them there for everybody. Please feel free to share this presentation with third and fourth grade colleagues and encourage them to return the needs assessment when that comes, and encourage them to participate in this program. I think this is going to be a great opportunity not only to address that social studies content, which is important, but also to help students handle that increasingly complex text that they'll be facing as they move forward in their education. Thanks. I trust this has been informative and helpful. I hope the rest of your meeting goes well, and I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thanks.